$1.7 trillion. Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, Wolverines? It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, but I need to get this information out to you first thing in the morning. So I am going to record right now. Today, we're going to be talking about the Omnibus bill that is in Congress right now, HR 2617. And we are going to talk about some of the gun control in there and what you can do to stop it. So with that out of the way, like, comment, subscribe. Not going to really harp too much on that right now because this is really, really important stuff and we need to get this out there. This information is put together by me and also GOA. The GOA federal team has worked tirelessly on this stuff yesterday. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into it. So right now, the Omnibus bill has a 13% increase for the ATF to handle all the pistol brace stuff. If you don't know what's going on with pistol braces, your head's been under a rock and you should just keep it there because it isn't good. We are expecting to see the rule sometime next week, and it will basically change the face of firearms, and there will be a lot more SBRs being registered or a lot more people breaking the regulation, because it's not a law, it's a regulation. So we'll find out more next week about that, but they are asking for a 13% increase in funding for that. There's also increased funding, $14.4 million to modernize the National Tracing Center. The National Tracing Center basically traces firearms, and this represents a 40% increase over their budget. What are they going to be using that money for? Tracing firearms. Are they only going to be tracing crime guns? We'll have to find out. Now, here's another thing. During the Safer Communities Bipartisan Act, also known as Cornyn-Murphy, they passed something that gives grants to states for red flag laws. And this is going to increase that funding to $770.8 million. That's an increase of $96.3 million over last year, and it's called the Burn Justice Assistance Grants, or JAG. And what they are going to use that for is to confiscate firearms without due process. A right delayed is a right denied, and you can't really delay due process and take guns because that is just wrong and it violates your right to bear arms. They are also going to start using VA medical centers to utilize gun confiscation orders, also known as extreme risk protection orders or red flag orders. So they are going to ask the Department of Veteran Affairs to collaborate with local and state law enforcement to get more people red flagged, which should be scary for everyone. They are taking the guns away from the vets. They are taking the guns away from the people that actually defended this country. I know I'm not doing a lot of cuts because I just want to get this over with because I'm pissed off and this has been a long night reading this stuff. All right, so the Department of Education is also going to start pushing secure firearms storage to promote secure household firearms storage and to offer support to federal agencies that are leading safe gun storage control efforts. Basically, they are going to push safe storage. They're going to try to get your kids brainwashed into this and maybe even turn you in. This is moving towards a mandatory storage law. I know they say that it isn't, but trust me, it is. It always is. Registration leads to confiscation. We've seen that. And Safe storage programs lead to mandatory storage laws. They are going to make a federally accessible gun storage maps that are for veterans. Basically, it's like Hold My Guns, but ran by the VA. So if you are feeling a little bit jumpy or suicidal, you can turn your guns into the VA for safe storage. I would rather go with a program like Hold My Guns because you know you're going to get your guns back. If you give them to the government, I don't know. They're probably going to make you jump through a bunch of loops and do mental evaluations and everything else if you do that. So that's not a good thing. They are also going to start giving $50,000 to any ATF agent's family that dies in the course of their duties. I wonder why that could be. Maybe because they are going to move on guns and they know a lot of people aren't going to take that and are going to fight back. That is just a guess. I could be wrong about that. And let's get into the earmarks. The earmarks are effing crazy. Get ready to get your mind blown. Okay, so they're going to give $1.2 million to No Shots Fired. All these groups are basically anti-gun groups. They're going to give $120,000 to Orchid Healing Circles for victims of gun violence, $750,000 for gun violence prevention initiatives, $4.6 million for the Hampton Gun Violence Initiative Program, $760,000 for gun violence and violent crime reduction initiatives, $67,000 for fostering greater gun safety in the New Haven area, $237,000 for Bridgeport gun violence prevention, $350,000 for assistance to anyone in Chicago that is disabled due to gun violence, $1 million for crime and gun violence reduction initiatives, $830,000 for the Vallejo Gun Violence Prevention Initiative, $1 million for the community-based gun violence reduction project at the University of New Haven. So that is a total of $10,914,000 in earmarks for anti-gun stuff. Okay, so you know how the CDC has been cooking these studies to remove defensive handgun uses? Well, they're going to give $1 million to the CDC to do more statistics on gun violence, which you know how that's going to turn out, which is crazy because they just got caught cooking the books and now they are going to get more money, right? The Omnibus more than doubles the funding for the CDC and the National Institute for Health to $60 million to enact anti-gun research, which is not very, very good for us because they have a target outcome that they want to reach, and they are going to reach that. They're going to give $4 million for a domestic violence lethality reduction initiative, which will disarm not only the perpetrator of domestic violence, but the person that the domestic violence is being perpetrated on. It's an anti-woman bill, basically, or anti-women statute in this omnibus bill. They are also going to do $50 million for Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative, CVI. If you don't know, the CVI has been used for a bunch of anti-gun stuff. In fact, a bunch of anti-gun units or gun violence units, whatever you want to call them, have sprung up around the country using these funds. New York City, for example, their anti-gun unit was built using these funds, and now they are increasing them. And here's another thing, $7.5 million to do research into MVEs, militia violent extremism. which is kind of, I don't know. It just pisses me off. This whole thing pisses me off. Basically, this bill is full of pork, and we are going to have to fight tooth and nail to kill it or actually modify it. So we're going to need your help. We're going to need you to contact your representatives in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, and all your elected officials and push them to say no to the omnibus bill. It's going to take a Herculean effort, but I believe that we can do it. I'm pretty sure GOA and other organizations are going to be dropping links to email over and stuff like that, but you can always call the congressional switchboard and ask for your representative as well. Once I get those links, I will update the description, but right now I just don't have them. All right, I'm going to go to bed now. Remember, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keep in the fight. I am out of here. Wolverines, motherfucker.